Welcome back to Just Chattin'. And this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, he is asleep on what is now his favorite chair. It used to be his second favorite chair. Now it's his first favorite because he's a cat. He lives to change his mind. Audie may come out and visit with us. He's been doing that a lot lately. I think, well, he has like a sixth sense for when a camera is running, not unlike Nutmeg. Maybe that's why he hates her so much. Maybe he just sees her as competition. But yes, when he knows the camera's running, he's going to be out and make an appearance. At least that's been his track record lately. So, sleeping now in front of the camera in 3 minutes, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. We're going to take a quick look at the intro, and we will be right back. So I thought we would start this video off with some of the more amusing stories that have hit the press in the last few days. And the first one on our list is from a podcaster named Link Lauren. I'm assuming that is actually his name, mostly because in my generation, the name Lincoln, although not common, was definitely not unknown, and I personally knew two separate people named Link. So, hey, maybe it is his name. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Well, he took one for the team, and he purchased one of Nutmeg's As Ever scented candles. Now, fortunately for everyone involved, she did not go full Gwyneth Paltrow and scent these candles with the fragrance of her naughty bits. And yes, I do have some of our more frequent joking commenters in mind. So, Derek, MW, Miss Sparkles and Glitter, and all the rest of you, you're welcome, because I'm going to be feeding you some straight lines. Yes, $65 for this candle, which, according to Link Lauren, smells very much the same as any random candle you could get for a couple of bucks at your local corner store. But having paid that kind of money for the candle, you would expect it would at least work. Nope. Apparently there is no wick in the candle. And again, you're welcome for that straight line. The fact of the matter is, we can all see why this company is crashing and burning. If you pay $65 for a candle, although perhaps it did not come in a box saying wick included, we do tend to assume that our candle is going to have a wick. In this case, no. So yeah, that was just irresistible with all of the complete absurd errors that have come out with misaligned labels and spreads that come out looking like Kool-Aid and the flour sprinkles. Oh, good Lord, the flour sprinkles. Yes. You buy a candle from Nutmeg, you pay $65, and apparently you're going to have to thread your own wick into it. What can I say? Marketing at its finest, or perhaps Nutmeg's brand at its finest. Next up, we have another story, and I found this one even more entertaining than the wickless candle, and that is that Nutmeg seems to be going very far out of her way, and I've noticed this a lot lately, to be painting the sock puppet up as just this icon of masculine sex appeal. Oh yes, she's so fortunate. She married herself a fox. Again, I'm going back to what I've said before about her belief in sympathetic magic. I think she believes if she says it often enough, it'll actually happen. But here is the photo of the sock puppet, who apparently in Nutmeg's eyes was looking particularly sexy on this occasion. All I can say is I looked at this photo and thought to myself, well, if you find stupid sexy, yeah, because he looks like someone just looked at him and said, Harry, spell your name. Yep, I don't even know what to say about this. The sock puppet has the IQ of a turnip. And if you find that sexy, God bless you. I know some people do. In fact, I know some very, very intelligent women who find turnip brain a real turn-on. Yeah, not my cup of tea, thank you. But then again, I'm not going after the sock puppet. Mostly because his village is looking for him. I have no idea what she is up to, but there are a few possibilities because she's been doing this. Oh, my husband's such a fox. Like, somehow, if she says it often enough, we're going to believe her. I'm wondering if the stories that are circulating that the sock puppet is desperate to be rid of her and running away from her every chance she gets might have some credibility here, and maybe she is hoping to entice him back by telling him that she feels that he is attractive and sexy, and quite frankly, she is probably the only woman in the world who has the stomach to say that to him. Maybe that will entice him back. Perhaps she is concerned that she truly is in danger of losing her titles, and she feels that keeping the sock puppet sweet might actually do her some good. Perhaps he will go to Pa and say, do not strip the title from my lovely wife. Whereas the way things are looking lately, he might be just as likely to go to Pa and say, rid me of this troublesome woman. Who knows? But I did find that just so over the top in terms of humor, ridiculousness, wishful thinking. I don't even know where to go from that, because the fact of the matter is, even within that family, which is not known for its good looks, Harry is not the shining star. I think we all know William is. And I'm pretty gosh darn sure William can spell his own name. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with this, but I do suspect there is some kind of agenda somewhere, and it will probably manifest itself before too long. So next up, we have Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet attending Kris Jenner's 70th birthday. And Nutmeg was photographed with a whole bunch of Kardashians. People had suspected initially, and all the articles, by the way, are in the video notes, so I have the trajectory of this story documented. People were suspecting initially that if there were no photos, Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet really did not show up. Turns out there were photos, but the photos showed up on the Kardashian websites and then were almost immediately taken down. Now, personally, I still have some serious questions about why Nutmeg would want to see herself photographed with Kris Jenner, mostly because Kris Jenner is allegedly 25 years older than Nutmeg. But I gotta tell you, I looked at those photos and I thought, yeah, it would be very hard for me to choose which one looked older. If I were Nutmeg, that is not a photo I would have voluntarily posed for, just because the comparison just jumps up and bites at you. So the photos go up on Kardashian Instagram pages and were almost immediately taken down again. Now, not before the press got their hands on the photos, which is how it is that I have copies of the photos to share with you. And the initial story that came out was that Nutmeg had insisted the photos be taken down because she had never signed a release allowing the Kardashians to post the photos. Then another story comes out saying that no releases were circulated, and the fact of the matter is anybody showing up at a Kardashian birthday party is doing so specifically for the purpose of having their picture taken and showing up on Kardashian social media. I think if anyone claimed that somehow their rights were being violated, boy, that is a case I would love to see get laughed out of court. Because as I say, we all know why you're there. You're there because you're publicity hungry. That brings us back to the original position. Why did the Kardashians pull the photographs? Why did they do it so quickly? What is it that Nutmeg has done to tick off a bunch of Kardashians? Which, by the way, is really, really stupid of her if she has, in fact, done something to irritate them, which I don't doubt. She is an irritating person. The fact is, at one time, Nutmeg was a member of the freaking British royal family, and now she is reduced to showing up at Kardashian birthday parties so she can get some secondhand clout from appearing on Kardashian Instagram pages. Oh my, how the mighty have fallen. But that too is in its own way a very entertaining story. I would be interested to see how this one plays out, and if we do find out what really was behind the Kardashians dumping those pictures so quickly. But because obviously it was not at Nutmeg's choice. They put the lie to that like very, very quickly, which does lead me to believe that there's trouble in paradise, at least in terms of the Montecito morons and the Kardashian clan. We'll have to see. As I say, we'll watch how this plays out. And what I am assuming to be the biggest of the stories to come out has to do with the sock puppet's ongoing lawsuit against any newspaper that has ever published anything about him since the moment he was born, or possibly even the moment he was conceived. And that is that the main witness in his court case alleging that the Mail on Sunday, or maybe it's the Daily Mail, I'll look it up and post whatever it is, because frankly, I can't keep track of who he is suing now. It's been so many. The main witness against that was a private investigator named Gavin Burrows. Now, Gavin Burrows is, in fact, a noted private investigator. So he's someone who's been doing this for a long time and has some successes to his credit. You can look up his bio and see all the stories that he's broken and whatever. In a relatively seedy world of tabloid press, private investigators, not to mention ambulance-chasing attorneys, he does seem to be someone who at least has some credentials. So, allegedly, back in 2021, Gavin Burrows signed a statement which outlined everything he was alleged to have done to violate the sock puppet's privacy rights and wiretapping, intercepting emails, bugging houses, cars, etc. And this was the foundation of the lawsuit. And keep in mind, the lawsuit involves all kinds of people: Elizabeth Hurley, Baroness Lawrence, I believe Elton John is involved in this lawsuit too. A lot of people some of whom are high profile. And they have all formulated their cases around this alleged statement by Burroughs. And the statement was supposed to have been given in August of 2021. Well, here's the thing. By March of 2023, some 18 months later, Burroughs had gone public saying he never gave that statement. That's not his signature. This is not his phraseology in the statement. It's not his voice. These are expressions he's never used. And furthermore, that everything that was outlined in this statement is rubbish. It's nonsense. It was just fabricated. He has also stated that the people who wanted the statement, the people who were soliciting the statement, were making him all kinds of very sketchy offers, like, we'd like your statement, and we're also going to offer you a contract that involves loads and loads and loads of money and almost no work. Wink, wink. That, in other words, they were attempting to buy a statement from him, but he wasn't willing to give it. So for at least 2.5 years, he has been on the record saying that it's not his statement. So we don't know, and we have his word against the word of the people who took the statement, and I don't know who they are because it's not listed specifically who took the statement. His word against someone else's word that it's not his statement. We have to consider that maybe he's not being honest, but at this point, that is not the key point. Whether or not he actually did give the statement, he walked away from it, he recanted it, he said this information is not true. In addition to saying he didn't give the statement, he said it's not true. And he said this almost 3 years ago. So that was March of 2023. So, yeah. Is this something that can be taken to court at this point? Well, the attorneys for the sock puppet are saying they do want to take this to court because he did craft and sign this statement, even though Burroughs is saying he didn't. And of course, the opposition is saying, no, he has recanted the statement, and we want to put him on the stand if they bring that statement in so that he can recant it in open court. We want to be able to cross-examine him. And it's turning into, I guess you would have to say, something of a legal quagmire. I have no idea if Burroughs did give the statement and then at a later date decided he no longer wanted to stand behind it. I don't know. I know nothing about the man. I have no idea if the statement was fabricated and he only became aware of it after it had been out there for 18 months, which is possible. The fact is he might have been aware of it from the beginning, but it might have taken him 18 months to formulate a legal strategy on how to deal with this statement. I don't know. There are too many questions and too many plausible scenarios that would support either side. The fact of the matter is, everybody involved is pretty freaking sleazy. If the newspapers were guilty of what is being alleged, then yeah, they are sleazy. If Burroughs is guilty of what he allegedly admitted to back in 2021, then yeah, he's pretty sleazy. If the lawyers somehow solicited a false statement from him or crafted their own statement and, I don't know, maybe got him to sign it, forged his signature. By the way, he does seem to be saying it's forged, that his signature is forged, which is I'm not going to say it's easy enough to prove. Forgery, believe it or not, is not something that is very easy to prove. It often comes down to a matter of opinion. You either take the opinion of the expert who says the signature is forged, or you take the opinion of the expert who says it isn't. These things, it's not like Law and Order. It's not like one of those TV procedurals where you can look at a signature and you can say, well, we can determine this has been forged. No. Sometimes it is, but a really good forgery, let's not lose sight of the many, many art masterpieces that have hung in museums after having been examined and authenticated by art experts. Come on, forgeries can pass muster. They really can. So, just having said that, I just want to make it clear that just because somebody says it's a forgery and someone else says it isn't, may not necessarily come down to anything more than someone's personal opinion. So where does this leave us? Well, I would say, if nothing else, it is taking the key piece of evidence in the sock puppets legal case and basically blowing it up. Because if the person who allegedly crafted that piece of evidence is saying no, what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? Even if he did make the statement, if he's coming out now saying it's false, well, is the statement worth anything? And now I have to be very clear about this. I've said this many times before. I am not an attorney. I am not a UK attorney. So the fact is, don't take this to be legal advice. But I would have to say that common sense alone tells us that if you are examining a piece of evidence that is this hotly contested, no way is this going to be a slam dunk. No way. And I do believe at this point, anyone in their right mind would throw that statement out because the person who allegedly made it is saying it's not true. Again, even if he really did give the statement, what he's saying now is it's a false statement. Just my opinion. Do I think this is going to have a negative impact on the sock puppets case? Oh, abso-freaking-lutely. Because this is their central thesis, that all of this stuff was going on and we have someone who allegedly did it. Here's the thing. If, in fact, Burroughs' statements now are accurate, that he only very briefly worked for the tabloid in question, and even then only for one non-related case, that can be proven. That can easily be proven. And if, in fact, he had worked for the paper for many, many cases over a long period of time to gather up all this evidence, that too can be proven. So I would have to say, if he's saying now, nope, I would be inclined to listen. So where does this leave the sock puppet? I think his case is in tatters. I think it really is in tatters. Do I have any explanation for why Burroughs might have made the statement, might have retracted it? No. Who knows? We do know, by Burroughs' own admission, he was offered a great deal of money in order to create this statement, although he says he didn't bite. Still, could that be what was going on? Yeah. And if I have to choose between the word of a sleazy tabloid, a sleazy private investigator, and a sleazy legal team, it's anyone's guess. So I did want to share that because I think we're going to be hearing a lot more of this. But I think those of us who are sick to death of the sock puppet and his endless freaking lawsuits and his endless freaking victimization and how hard done by he is from everyone, and how the media is responsible for all the evils ever visited on the planet. I think for those of us who are sick of that narrative, this is probably very good news. So that is what I have for you today. As you can see, we had some entertaining stories. In fact, I think most of them are entertaining. Perhaps even the sock puppet and the complete dismantling of his legal case. They pulled out that one central pin that holds it all together. Yes, I think it's been amusing, but the takeaways from this are very, very limited. Nutmeg is delusional. She thinks her husband is a hottie. The candles, well, $65, no wick. The lawsuit, zero foundation, and nothing going on here. And let's see whether the Kardashians or Nutmeg come out on top in this little squabble. And I'll tell you what, my money's on the Kardashians. So we are going to take a quick look at a slideshow on the way out. Thank you for being with us. I hope to see you again next time. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.